It's time to rank our elite running backs for the 2025 fantasy football season, and we're going to start off with the man himself, 2024's number one running back, Saquon Barkley, averaging 21.2 points per game in half PPR leagues, which of course is what Underdog Fantasy Football is. Now, quickly rolling into our second elite running back. It's going to be the second running back off the board on Underdog Drafts, Bijan Robinson from the Atlanta Falcons. Last season, he took an additional step forwards and continued to show why he was drafted in the top 10 of the NFL draft with an elite fantasy football season that we all knew was in him. Our third running back is going to be Ashtyn Jeanty, rookie for the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, I know it can be scary to draft a rookie running back this high. He's going off the board at an ADP of 8.5, but a running back talent this good is absolutely worth the risk. In 2018, we watched the New York Giants have Saquon Barkley, who was a first-round pick in fantasy drafts, and he turned into the fantasy football PPR running back 1, half PPR running back 2, even though the New York Giants was middle of the road. There were 15 offenses worse than them, so right smack dab in the middle of the league. If the Raiders offense is anything other than a bottom 4 or 5 offense, Ashtyn Jeanty is going to absolutely deliver on this ADP, and we can confidently draft him at running back 4 off the board, and I absolutely love where he's going in drafts. The next guy, we got Christian McCaffrey, a man who needs no introduction, you would think, but recently he's going off the board much lower. Now, just like I said, the man needs no introduction. Look, this is a player who prints top fantasy football seasons. The one thing about him is, he's injured, but he kind of reminds me of a guy coming out last year who was going at the 1-2 turn. It was a running back with a history of getting injured and absolutely, not returning on his value because he got injured. But last year, Saquon Barkley is now going at the top of drafts. There is no reason why Christian McCaffrey can't return to form as a top running back and be someone that you are confident in building a hero running back around. Christian McCaffrey is my absolute favorite value in all fantasy football formats, redraft or otherwise, at the running back position. He is still the bell cow running back for the San Francisco 49ers, a really, really good offense. And when he's getting all the touches, he's going to absolutely rack up opportunities and rack up points. He's a guy you can confidently draft in your leagues for this year. Now, finishing off our S tier here is going to be Derrick Henry, going off the board on Underdog at running back 6, coming off of a season where he put up 18.6 points per game in half PPR leagues. Derrick Henry, another running back who found a new system and is now thriving. The knock on him is he's really old. We know the history tells us that once you turn 30, running back production absolutely falls off a cliff. For whatever reason, Derrick Henry does not seem that these rules apply to him. So he has now established himself as an outlier, and we have to let him tell us when he is done. He is just continues to outperform his ADP, and as long as he keeps outperforming his ADP, we are going to have to continue to draft him. And just recently, we watched him sign a 2-year extension with the Baltimore Ravens, so he's now under contract for 3 more years. This doesn't confirm that he's actually going to play for 3 more years, but this does tell us that he has no plans of retiring, and we can confidently draft him at ADP where he's going on Underdog. Now, I know everyone watching this video is probably screaming at me, why is the number 3 running back off the board on Underdog Fantasy Football not in the S tier? And my answer is Jahmyr Gibbs is an extremely valuable PPR running back, but he's not as valuable in half PPR leagues. And I cannot justify his running back 3 price tag if you look at what his production looks like with and without David Montgomery. Last season, David Montgomery broke, I believe it was his forearm, and missed weeks 15, 16, 17, and 18. And in those weeks, Jahmyr Gibbs absolutely went crazy, averaging 30.4 points per game. But before David Montgomery got injured, Jahmyr Gibbs only averaged 17.6 points per game, which is still really, really good, but it's not something that I want to use the 3rd running back pick off the board on. I think the guys in that S tier all have higher ceilings than Jahmyr Gibbs as long as David Montgomery is healthy, and it is not good process to project a player to get injured to make your player relevant. So Jahmyr Gibbs, very, very high ceiling, but David Montgomery needs to be hurt if he is going to have a better outlook than the players in that S tier. Now, speaking of injuries, we have Devon Achane is our second A tier running back, and this is another player who is highly dependent on injuries. With Devon Achane, not only does he have to stay healthy, he also needs his quarterback Tua Tagovailoa to stay healthy as well. In games where Tua played, Devon Achane put up 21.2 points per game. That is exactly what Saquon Barkley put up. So we see the ceiling with Devon Achane is there, but the games without Tua, he only put up 5.64 fantasy points per game. So we're seeing when Tua and Achane are both healthy, he is an absolute destroyer. But when they're both, or when either one of them is injured, he's going to do absolutely nothing for you. So by drafting Devon Achane, if you were going to go ahead and select him as part of a hero running back build, you are drafting him with knowing the fact that he is either 187 or 188 pounds, depending on who you ask, still way lower than that 200-pound threshold, which is what we can feel confident about our starting running backs being where they're not going to get hurt. And then Tua, he has his concussion issues, and he is a player who historically has struggled mightily to stay healthy. So you are betting, yes, Devon Achane can be the running back 1 overall, but he is very, very, very risky, and the players in the S tier are much better risk versus reward, where the reward is still there, but they are not as risky as Devon Achane. But Devon Achane and Jahmyr Gibbs, both guys where the floor is lower, but the ceiling is absolutely there should injuries break their way. Now, before we move on to our B tier, I just want to say there are 12 teams in every single draft on Underdog Fantasy Football, which means just by pure luck, your team has about a 16% chance of advancing to the second round. Just last year, using my strategies, I was able to make my teams were able to advance 26.9% of the time, meaning that my strategies made my teams 1.68 times more successful. And if you want to learn some of them, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out a ton. Well, let's hop into our B tier here. It's going to be a bigger tier featuring Kyren Williams, Chase Brown, Jonathan Taylor, and Breece Hall. Starting it off with Kyren Williams, he has a lot of the same things that makes Christian McCaffrey such an enticing fantasy option, except he doesn't have the history of being a top 2 running back in fantasy football. Kyren Williams is coming off a running back 6th overall finish in half PPR leagues and still is going to be the bell cow for one of the best offenses in the NFL, the LA Rams offense. Kyren Williams is going to catch the ball, get all the goal line touches, and is someone who you want to make sure that you are absolutely in on drafting. Now, moving on to our next guy is going to be Chase Brown, also in the B tier. Chase Brown is coming off a running back 11 finish through 17 weeks. I just want to throw that in. But Chase Brown actually didn't really get rolling until after week 9, which is where Zach Moss, who was the original starter for the Cincinnati Bengals in 2024, got injured. So from weeks 1 through 9, Chase Brown averaged, after Zach Moss got injured, so after week 9, Chase Brown averaged 8.25 fantasy points per game, which is absolutely insane and shows us that the ceiling for this player is much, much higher than we've seen. Also, looking at his, weight in terms of not being injured, he has a BMI of 30, which is the number that we're looking for, which is just another box that he checks. He's also the starting running back for the Cincinnati Bengals offense, which was one of the best, if not the best, offense in the NFL last season. And now that they re-signed everyone and everyone's healthy, they're going to be a tremendously productive offense again this season. And you can absolutely feel highly confident about drafting Chase Brown at his current ADP. He's currently going off the board on Underdog as your running back 11, but I have him ranked higher than that. I think he's a really good value and someone we can take chances on. Now, our next guy is going to be Jonathan Taylor. He's coming off a running back 9 finish, but Jonathan Taylor, the way his offense looks, it is featuring Anthony Richardson, who has been statistically one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL since he was named the starter 2 years ago. It's an offense that does, unless Anthony Richardson takes a step forwards, there is not going to be a ton of touchdown production to go around for Jonathan Taylor, which certainly limits his upside. Now, we know Jonathan Taylor has a running back 1 overall finish under his belt, so he's a tremendously talented running back prospect, but the players above him on this list just have a better claim to be higher on the list than he is. Now, moving on to our final running back in the B tier, it's going to be New York Jets running back Breece Hall, coming off the board on Underdog Fantasy Football as running back 13. Breece Hall is coming off an extremely disappointing fantasy football season for what we've learned to, what he has started out with in his career. Coming off of a running back 4 finish in 2023, his 2024 season saw Breece Hall finishing as a running back 17 overall. But this year, the New York Jets actually have a coach. They're not going to fire their coach 5 games into the season. They have a better offensive coordinator, and Breece Hall has the talent to outperform his ADP of where he is going as a running back 2 on Underdog, and in ESPN leagues, he's going off the board even lower. Breece Hall is a running back that I absolutely love drafting. Now, moving on to our C tier, we're going to finish this off with 2 more running backs, starting with Green Bay Packers running back Josh Jacobs. He's coming off a running back 5 finish. Now, what Josh Jacobs brings to the table is, 1, he has talent, and the more important thing is he is the starting running back for a really good offense. The Green Bay Packers under Coach LaFleur and Jordan Love has been highly productive over the past couple of years. So whoever their starting running back is going to be a player who we are interested in drafting. The offense was good last year. Josh Jacobs finished as running back 5. So that's would be a great outcome, seeing where we are drafting him on Underdog at lower down on the board at running back 10. But he doesn't have running back 1 overall upside, or even, higher than he was last year upside, because the situation is not going to change. What's really changed in Green Bay is they got Matthew Golden in the draft, but nothing super meaningful has happened with that offense. So Josh Jacobs is a much more projectable running back. Now, there's nothing wrong with being, in the C tier, still a good spot, still someone who we want to be drafting, but ADP, honestly, it's not even that high. Just don't expect to take Josh Jacobs and expect anything crazy to come out of that draft pick. Now, finishing it off with Bucky Irving coming off the board on Underdog as running back 9. That is coming off a finish of running back actually 16 on Sleeper and ESPN Fantasy Football. When they show you where they were ranked, that's weeks 1 through 18. So Bucky Irving, was the running back 16 through 17 games, which is the meaningful games of the NFL season. And he's good, but he's still in a committee backfield. Yes, he's the best running back in that committee. Yes, he is the running back 1 in that committee backfield. He's going to get the most touches on a really powerful Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense. The problem is it's still a committee backfield. He is going to be splitting targets with Sean Tucker and Rachaad White, and he does not have the upside that the other guys that are going in this range are going to be bringing to your fantasy football team. The guy that you want to take instead of Bucky Irving, please take Chase Brown. His offense is even better. He's going to get more touches, and you're getting a better player when you get Chase Brown. I understand everyone loves Bucky Irving, but why draft a committee back when you can get a 1A like Chase Brown? But that's what I got for today. So if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new, and have a great day.